Hey, welcome in to a special edition of the Fat Boyz Dynasty podcast. I'm Bo Brant. I'm Brant. Bo's at home. Sorry about the stutter through. I'm used to him going first. He's at home relaxing today. It's my turn to do a little solo and get it out there. And I wanted to get out with four players that could possibly help in your fantasy playoffs with some of their schedules and guys that might be easily acquired off of waivers, maybe through trades. And a lot of them are young guys or younger guys that can help you in the future in your dynasty landmark as well. And I'm going to jump straight into it, and we're going to talk about the Falcons pass catchers, Darnell Mooney in particular, through the games that he played where he wasn't injured. It was 86% snap share, 89 and 83. He got hurt in week 4 where he only played 45% of snap shares. But they get the Bucs, the Cardinals, and the Rams in the playoffs. This is a guy that just saw 5 targets, 3 receptions for 68 yards right off the get-go, right as he gets back from injury and from the bye week. And Michael Penix is starting to sling the ball a little bit more and move it down the field. And the Falcons offense is starting to get better. I know we saw that abysmal, week 3 against Carolina, but they're definitely getting on the up and up. So Darnell Mooney's a guy that you could possibly get off waivers, maybe trade for fairly cheap. And with that matchup with the Bucs, the Cardinals, and the Rams, definitely an easy guy to go acquire, and someone that you could put in your flex to help make your playoff push and help you move on. And then the next one I'm going to go, and really everybody on this team could probably easily acquired. Mike Evans and the Bucs pass catcher. I know Mike Evans just suffered an injury. Rumor is he might make it back. I don't know if that's the one I'd be targeting. But Tez Johnson's a guy that I'd be looking at. They get the Falcons, the Panthers, and the Dolphins for the fantasy playoffs. Tez Johnson came out. He had 9 targets, 4 receptions, 58 yards, and a touchdown this past week in his first real full game action without, Ibuka was banged up. Mike Evans went down. Chris Godwin was missing time. He saw 68% of the snaps. He finished as wide receiver 19. He had 9 targets is the big thing here. He's moved himself. He's showing that Baker trusts him or is gaining trust him in a game against the Detroit Lions. So Tez Johnson or even Chris Godwin, if you could possibly get him for the cheap right now while he is banged up, and maybe you can get him before he gets back from injury. But those are 2 guys that could possibly help you out in the fantasy playoffs for your pass catchers is Chris Godwin, Tez Johnson, and Darnell Mooney. I absolutely love all 3 of those guys and going out to get for fairly cheap. And now let's talk about a couple of the running backs. You got Chase Brown as this Bengals offense started to click again. And Chase Brown actually looked like the guy that everyone drafted in the first or second round. He saw 63% of snaps with Joe Flacco under center. I know, 20 targets for Jamar Chase and what was it, 16 for T. Higgins. It looks like all they're going to do is air it out. Well, no, this guy saw 11 carries, went 108 yards, and he had 4 targets and 2 receptions. We're not going to talk about his yards. Yards didn't look that great. The line isn't that great. Flacco's getting used to that offense. They played a pretty decent Pittsburgh Steelers defense this past week. And they're pretty decent against the run. They're nothing, special, but they are pretty decent against the run. And he finished as running back 19. A lot of people have wrote the ship on Chase Brown. So this is the guy that you could go out and get fairly easy. I think a lot of guys don't think that this Bengals offense is going to be anything special. But moving forward, if they're able to stay afloat in that playoff hunt, this is a guy that absolutely could still see tons of snaps and tons of value. So I absolutely would be going out to get Chase Brown. And then another guy that I'm looking at in the running back community would be Ramondre Stevenson of the New England Patriots. That offense, that team is looking like they are going to make playoff push. They're going to continue to make noise in the NFL world, and they're going to continue to be one of the most prolific offenses right now. They're moving the ball very well. And Ramondre Stevenson saw 75% of the snap share this past week. He finished as RB13. He's seen 70, his snap share has been 65, 35, 36, 57, 52, 72. he is the most dominant back in that for snap share in that backfield between him and Henderson. Maybe even take a shot over there at Henderson in case something does happen to Stevenson. Maybe try to get both of them. But Ramondre Stevenson finished as RB13 last week. He had 18 attempts, 88 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 targets, 2 receptions. So he is absolutely showing that he is the focal point of the run game there in New England. They get Baltimore, Miami. New England gets Buffalo, Baltimore, and the Jets for the fantasy playoffs. All 3 defenses are pretty easy against the run. I do expect Baltimore to turn it up a little bit more as they come off the bye, but we'll see if that defense gets back to normal. But these are 3 great matchups. So just a quick recap real fast. I have Darnell Mooney or any of the Falcons pass catchers. Don't think you're going to go out and get Drake London early, but you got Darnell Mooney who has the Bucs, the Cards, and the Rams. Then you turn in and you got Tez Johnson or Chris Godwin of the Buccaneers who sees the Falcons, the Panthers, and the Dolphins in the fantasy playoffs. And then you look at a couple running backs that maybe you can go out and get fairly cheap before they do blow up. And you got Chase Brown, who plays Baltimore, Miami, and Arizona. And then you got Stevenson or Henderson over there in New England, who plays Buffalo, Baltimore, and the New York Jets. These are all 4 guys that could be easily acquired. I think Stevenson, a lot of people are writing the ship off because of how explosive Henderson looks. So I still think that he's fairly cheap to be able to go get. Chase Brown, everyone was writing the ship off of how abysmal that offense looked. And as long as they stay afloat, Chase Brown's going to continue to be the guy in the backfield with Joe Flacco. He'll be the guy getting the dump-off catches. Tez Johnson over there with Tampa Bay as they develop chemistry, and Mike Evans is gone. For as of right now, Tez Johnson is going to be the wide receiver 2 until we see Chris Godwin get back on the field. Ibuka will obviously move to the 1. I don't think you're going to be able to get him anywhere. But Tez Johnson or Chris Godwin are easily probably acquirable. And then you got Darnell Mooney, who is a guy that, early in the season, he was a little banged up, went back and forth, but he still saw plenty of snaps, plenty of snap share. And then right off the rip, he saw 5 targets this first week back. He's a guy that was phenomenal last year at times, and he gets the Bucs, the Cards, and the Rams in the fantasy playoffs. So those are some guys that I absolutely do love moving forward in fantasy. So go out, try to acquire them. If you got questions on maybe some trade offers that you can send out, don't hesitate to email or message the Fat Boys or the Fantasy Holics over there on Facebook, on the X, or even on YouTube. We'll try to get back to you. Well, we will get back to you pretty quickly on the Facebook. That's the quickest way. Don't forget to join the Fat Boys live for all your Sunday morning start sit questions. We don't have football this Sunday, but we will have plenty of games going on. We don't have football this Sunday morning, but we will have plenty of games going on Sunday afternoon. Don't forget to join the Fat Boys for all your questions and your underdog plays of the week. I'm not going to put any Thursday night ones out as we're watching the game right now. I think it's 7-0 for the Chargers. But don't forget to join the Fat Boys live on Sunday. And as always, stay hungry and stay fat, my friends.